Most countries are in the early stages of transforming their energy systems. In this context, it is important to understand the relation between the level of energy use and the standard of living across countries. Welcome to Key Energy Facts about the journey to a future energy system. I'm your host, Tushar. I have over 25 years of experience in the energy field, which includes technology development, commercialization, and evaluation. The economic state of a country defines the standard of living of its population. The standard of living in a country is often discussed in terms of its gross domestic product per capita. Gross domestic product or GDP is the value of goods and services produced in the region. It is commonly used to discuss the economic state of a country. GDP per capita of a country is equal to the GDP of the country divided by its population. Developing countries have a much lower GDP per capita compared to developed countries and thereby a markedly lower standard of living. Over time, countries have increased their GDP per capita by increasing the output from agriculture and factories. The output has been increased by using machines to mechanize agriculture and factory operations. Energy is required to power the machines. Therefore, countries have required a large increase in energy to increase their output, that is, their GDP per capita. Let us review the relation between GDP per capita and energy use per capita for the different countries. A steep linear correlation is observed until a certain level of energy use per capita. Specifically, the GDP per capita correlates strongly with energy per capita in case of developing countries. This means that the energy use per capita has a strong impact on the GDP per capita for such countries. Notably, the correlation between energy per capita and GDP per capita is weak for developed countries. Next, let us consider the impact of energy use on the Human Development Index. This index includes the key dimensions of human development such as a long and healthy life, good education, and a decent standard of living. Developed countries have a Human Development Index of greater than 0.9. Such countries use high levels of energy. None of the developed countries have an energy use level that is lower than 80 gigajoules per capita. We will call this level as the poverty buster level. Countries with an energy use level that is below the poverty buster level have a much lower Human Development Index. For such countries, lower the energy use per capita, lower is the Human Development Index. The energy use per capita has a very strong impact on the Human Development Index for such countries. Let us consider the example of the country which has the world's largest population. India has 1.4 billion people. Its energy use is less than 25 gigajoules per capita. The energy use in India is very low. It is far below the poverty buster level of 80 gigajoules per capita. Correspondingly, its GDP per capita and Human Development Index is also far below that of the developed countries. For example, India's GDP per capita is less than half of the global average and almost one-tenth of the United States. Many countries are in a similar situation. Much of the global population lives in countries where the energy use is below the poverty buster level of 80 gigajoules per capita. Even a moderate increase in the energy use in such countries will lead to a substantial increase in their GDP per capita and Human Development Index. The case of China and India is useful to discuss the importance of increasing the energy use in the developing countries. Both India and China had a similar GDP per capita in the year 1990. China increased its energy use per capita almost twice as fast as India since 1990. This increase in energy use resulted in a massive economic benefit for China. Specifically, China's GDP per capita increased far more rapidly compared to India because of its markedly higher increase in energy use. Developed countries have a high GDP per capita because of their high energy use. Most developed countries use far more energy than the poverty buster level of 80 gigajoules per capita. The GDP per capita and Human Development Index is less sensitive to the energy per capita beyond the poverty buster level. So, what are the key implications of the different energy use level across countries? Most developing countries will need to markedly increase their energy use to achieve a decent standard of living for their citizens. More than half of the global population currently lives on less than $10 per day. Most of this population lives in developing countries. An increase in access to energy is crucial to the progress of the developing countries. The situation is different for developed countries. Energy access is not a problem in such countries. In fact, there is a large scope for the affluent to lower their energy use in these countries. However, even in developed countries, there is one major issue. Energy costs are a challenge for the poor and the lower middle class. Consider the example of United States. According to official figures, 23% of the households in the United States were unable to pay their energy bills in 2023. Some final thoughts. A superior access to energy is crucial for progress in the developing countries. Energy cost is obviously a very important metric from this viewpoint. The cost of energy is also a concern for a substantial fraction of the population in developed countries. A spike in energy costs will have a significant impact on majority of the global households. The impact will be twofold: higher energy bills and an increase in costs of goods and services. This is because goods and services are also influenced by energy costs. So keeping the energy costs as low as possible is crucial for most of the global population. See you soon with another episode on key energy facts.